Gordon! Gordon, wake up! Wake up this instant! Wake up right now!
What is it, Percy? I'm sleeping.
You've got to come and take a look. Something's gone wrong with the island.
What do you mean something's gone wrong with the island?
Gordon, you really ought to come and take a look. I don't know how to say this, but they're outsiders.
Outsiders, you say? Well, I won't stand for that. Take over my island, will you? Just wait until I get a hold of the Fat Controller, and then you'll really be... What?
It's time to wake up, Chuggington!
No, it can't be true. Chuggers! No!
Hello everybody, it's Hero the Japanese Train here once again in the year 2024. I'm coming at you with another video, and once again, it's not going to be super Thomasy. I looked at the Union Pacific Whittle Shortline engine last time, and today is also not super Thomas related. And if you give me just a second, you'll see what I'm talking about. There you have it. I'm looking at Chuggington stuff today, actually. And, you know, Chuggington is something that I would say 10 years ago, I would have been with the fandom, kind of making the memes and jokes. And, you know, just kind of looking at Chuggington as, you know, not really a great show. And honestly, I think that's done me a disservice over the years, especially in the wake of All Engines Go and the Thomas reboot, which frankly, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I cannot sit through an episode of All Engines Go. It's nothing against those that can, it's just, it doesn't capture my attention, and frankly, it bores me. So, that's when, in the last 6 months, I've actually decided to revisit Chuggington. And I'm going to give credit here where credit's due to Trinking James, actually, because he started watching the show, and I actually had a meetup with him, and he had a bunch of Chuggington wood and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, wait, this stuff is like really cool. And I remember when Chuggington first came out, I was watching it as a kid on like PBS Sprout, and I actually did really enjoy those first few seasons. But then I think when the ARC era came along and Thomas started improving with the CGI series, I kind of just fell off of it. Well, I basically sat down this fall and rewatched the show and watched most of the seasons that I didn't already watch. So there's about 6 seasons of Chuggington. I'd seen 1 and a couple episodes of season 2, but now I've basically watched the series all the way through, and I fell right back in love with it. And for Christmas, my awesome father-in-law, he basically provided me with a full-fledged Chuggington collection, and this isn't even the half of it. So what I'm going to do today is talk about Chuggington Wooden Railway, go through each of these characters that I've got, and trust me, there's way more where this comes from. But I'm actually starting here with the new in-box Chuggington engines. And, you know, for those of you who don't know, Chuggington was kind of spearheaded by Learning Curve, and if we take a look at some of the wooden engines here, I'm just going to pick up Asher because Asher really jumps out to me. The quality is really, really good. I mean, there's some plastic here and there, and honestly, I'm kind of over the plastic discussion when, you know, I feel like Thomas stuff has just kind of gone out the window with All Engines Go, so, you know, the amount of plastic here does not bother me at all for a wooden railway. I know probably about 10 years ago that would have been a nitpick of mine, but frankly, the plastic molding is so good that you get details like these lights on the front, you get the eyes of Asher, right? It just looks really, really good. And moving on, we're looking at green painted Wilson, which I actually have 2 of them now. So I may open one, I may keep them both in the box. Just, you know, I almost feel bad taking them out of the box because just how well done they are. And I remember even when Chuggington Wooden Railway first came out, that, or actually right before it, there were some websites of like parent websites who had made like Brio customs of the Chuggington engines, and I always thought those were really cool. We're taking a look at Harrison here. Harrison is my favorite character in the show. He is the most Gordon-y to me. He definitely gives off the Gordon vibe. And just the class of engine he is really cool. That's kind of one of the things about Chuggington that I appreciate too, is each of the characters, for the most part, they have some sort of real-life basis, or they at least look like real trains. And, you know, for all the bouncing of the engines and stuff like that, and the self-driving engines, I still think Chuggington is really cool. I think the fandom has kind of looked at Chuggington through a Thomas lens and expected the engines to be hyper-realistic and all that stuff, when I think we're missing the point as a fandom when we look at Chuggington. So to embrace Chuggington for what it is, I think it is a really awesome show. We got Piper here, new in box. I do have one of these out of box, so this is definitely going to stay in the box and hang on a wall or something, be part of my shrine. And then we have Emery. Emery's really cool. One of the few with buffers, I think, in the show. But yeah, I mean, this is stuff that feels so sturdy, so substantial. You're not really going to see anything like this today, except for maybe the newest versions of the Thomas Wooden Railway, right? But these are just the new in box stuff, and honestly, this is not the main event. The main event is coming up in just a moment. This is the main event. So once again, my father-in-law, just super awesome guy, just, you know, real, you know, sweet person, honestly. Maximum effort into everything he does. Family first, just anything, you know, positive to say. I was completely blown away this Christmas because I kind of just, you know, mentioned, hey, you know, I'm into Chuggington and here's some of the characters I don't have. Well, then I wake up Christmas morning and find not only all those new in box Chuggington engines, but literally this entire box full of these mystery boxes that my father-in-law literally went out of his way to make himself, make the boxes, design them. And honestly, it's just really heartwarming and sweet. And you'll see I opened a couple of them already, but my goal today is to unbox every single one of these for you on camera. So I'm going to go down the line, and I only know about like 3 of them that are in here. Most of them I still have not opened. So first one is Skylar. And Skylar is a character I actually, when I was not watching Chuggington in the mid-2010s, I nearly bought a couple times on like Amazon or something just because I thought Skylar was really cool looking. I mean, it's kind of a Diesel 10 look, if you want to think of it like that, with this magnetic crane. But these characters in Chuggington, they're, you know, all super stylistic and they're all super unique, right? And it's not like the Cars universe and it's not like the Thomas universe. Chuggington does kind of stand alone as its own thing, right? And this is a perfect example of that, right? Skylar's got a really interesting face. I love the color scheme, and the build is really, you know, high quality stuff. So put that aside. We're gonna kind of make a pile here of all these trains. I'll keep a running tally of the boxes as we go. Okay, so here's the second one. I've honestly forgotten what this one is, so let's take a look. Oh, and it's Speedy McAllister. Speedy McAllister, one of the few steam engines on the show. That was kind of an interesting part of this show, right? Is this whole aspect of the steam engines are kind of secondary to the diesel and electric engines in the town of Chuggington or whatever. And I loved that all of the steam engines kind of had this elderly wisdom to provide to all the characters. So Speedy McAllister is one that I've kind of wanted since the beginning, since he was introduced in season 2, and just awesome stuff there. Okay, here comes another one. Now, I did hear from my father-in-law that he had to get one from the UK, which really intrigues me, so I wonder when we'll get to that one, and I'm sure I'll know, but keep moving on here. And this is Jackman, Chug Patroller Jackman version. And the later seasons introduced all this different stuff, right? The Chuggineers, the Chug Patrol, and Coco became like a high-speed train in training, if you will. And Jackman was always really neat to me because he did genuinely give off this presence of like, you know, he's super heroic and you know, I myself am a teacher in my career, and seeing kind of the chuggers literally graduate from, you know, Dunbar and Schuyler to going into the Chug Patrol, it kind of reminds me of some of the feelings that I have in my day to day, right? Is giving your students sort of independence, right? When at the same time guiding them. And definitely Jackman is someone who I actually kind of relate to in Chuggington. So this is really freaking cool. Okay. There's one more that I have already opened, but then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I have no idea what they are. So we take. Oh yeah, I remember this one. So there's V, actually 2 V's. V, those of you who don't know, is kind of the Sir Topham Hatt of Chuggington, but you kind of want more than one V anyway, because there's so many of them scattered throughout the town of Chuggington that I have no idea if V, I think V is like some sort of computer that sort of just, you know, through artificial intelligence or whatever, speaks to the chuggers. So that's really neat there. I'm actually going to move this aside so we can make room for all these chuggers. There we go. Put V here. With Birdie. Birdie's probably freaking out right now because he's never seen anything like this. All right. Here comes another one. Let's just stack them up. Why not? The conversation about V is actually kind of interesting because I'm sure many of you know I talk about Thomas lore and everything with my good friend Master of the Lemons. Back when we did Character Gallery, we kind of view Thomas as like a metaphor for how the engines are sentient, right? And it's sort of just the engines are, you kind of imagine they're alive, but they're not like actually like squishy flesh faces because that's kind of weird. But Chuggington, you know, there was an episode where Harrison had his voice box damaged, right? And it really like actually messed with his voice. And that kind of got me thinking. The engines literally have voice boxes and they have like technology inside of, you know, their bodies for how they operate. It kind of made me think that the chuggers are like animatronics and they're kind of made alive through like artificial intelligence or something. And, you know, that's kind of some pretty interesting distinctions from how I look at Thomas. And it's really when I actually sit down and analyze Chuggington like that I really began to appreciate the show, and as you can see here, wanted the merchandise. So we continue on here. Oh wow, okay. Hanzo's car, nice. Passenger wagon. Wow, really sturdy here. This is really cool with the golden wheels and the doors here. Wow, that's really neat. So that's from Coco's Teacher, right? You've seen the show. All right, keep going down the line here. Oh, nice. Zeffy. I think I had an opportunity at one point to get Zeffy at a train show, but passed it up. And I was kind of, you know, that was before I was getting back into Chuggington, and then, you know, I kind of kicked myself for that. But now I have one, and I now have to worry about that, you know. That's really neat. I'd always wondered if Zeffy, the wooden one, could do that thing where she spins around on her chassis, but she can't, and that's totally okay. I think the diecast one might be able to, but I don't remember. I have the diecast one, but it's not here. It's far, far away, with much of my train stuff in Maryland. And like I said in my previous video, I live 500 miles away from there. So when I go back, I might look for my diecasts. Oh, this one's cool. We got Action Chugger. I really like the subplot around Action Chugger being kind of the superhero of Chuggington, right? If you were to ever make like a multiverse Thomas Chuggington film, you got to have a showdown with Action Chugger and Diesel 10, right? Like that would just be awesome, you know. Literally can fly. I mean, He's got the really cool sort of like chiseled look about him. Really neat. I think this one is a little, wear here, but honestly, I think that adds to him quite a bit. Because I think Action Chugger is supposed to be sort of like rugged and not pristine. So I think that actually, in my opinion, enhances it that you've got some weathering here, right? All right, we got 3 more. I am spoiled rotten. And again, appreciating the box. It's literally my mystery box. You've got the town of Chuggington in the background. That's really cool. I'm a very lucky person. Frostini. Nice, another one with the opening a door feature. Except this time he's selling you ice cream. Really cool. And the detail in that is pretty good, right? Chuggington was one of those shows where whenever Frostini would make ice cream, it actually does look really visually satisfying when he makes the ice cream. So I feel like if there was ever like a sentient train show fan cookbook, his ice cream would be like top notch in that. Okay, we got 2 more. Oh, nice. This will go. Oh, wow. Okay, so this has got to be the UK one because this one is very rare. Pace, who I think is I don't know if she's a recolor or not, but Pace was a character that impressed me in the later seasons of the show. I think she's literally one of the last characters that Chuggington Wood and Railway made. So looking at this detail, that's really cool. I love the color scheme here, right? The yellow really is vibrant, and actually, it does kind of go with Hanzo's car really well. And so, Pace, high-speed engine. I think she like befriended Brewster at one point. She's not from Chuggington, and that's a really cool opportunity for like fan content. Is what lies beyond Chuggington. I think she's from Tootington or something like that. But that's really neat. Pace was definitely high up on my list, and she's probably the rarest Chuggington wooden character to get, so that is really cool. Awesome. Surprise. Alright, and then we have the last one here. Oh, nice. Here we go. To go with the car, we've got Hanzo himself. I think he was always sold as a 2-pack, so to have the complete set is really nice. And gosh, that looks really satisfying to have just a full consist in a Chuggington form. I have Coco, and I have actually quite a bit of Chuggers that are scattered around places, but it's really cool to get some Chuggington rolling stock because they didn't make a ton of it, to my knowledge, so to have Hanzo's coach is really cool. So there you have it. I mean, gosh, I am swimming in bubble wrap and boxes now. There's literally like a whole debris field of boxes over here. Just throw them on there. I mean, that's a lot of Chuggers, right? Oh my gosh. So taking a look at the final tally, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Chuggington items for Christmas that I was totally not expecting it to be done in such a, really cool and frankly heartwarming way with the mystery boxes. And, this just really boosts my appreciation for Chuggington and what made it such a cool show. I mean, I will be fully honest. I can get invested in Chuggington episodes in a way that I probably will never be able to with All Engines Go. It is, in my opinion, much more of a train show, like about actual trains and railways. It has got more depth to it than All Engines Go does. And for that reason, it really makes me appreciate the show on a greater level than All Engines Go, even though it is technically Thomas. Chuggington just seems more authentically about trains, in my opinion. And so I hope that, you guys, if you have a chance to go watch Chuggington, I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. And, I've been talking with some friends of mine about how cool it would be to make a multiverse story surrounding Thomas and Chuggington. And, having all of these chuggers makes that so much more likely to actually be a thing. So, that's going to do it for this video, but definitely stay tuned for more from my channel. But gosh, this was a very Merry Christmas with all the chuggers I got. So again, to my father-in-law, I cannot thank him enough. And there's plenty more train reviews where that came from. So I'm looking forward to hearing your comments below. And as always, I'm here with the Japanese Train, signing off. Have a good one, guys.